if you are, starting a business, a lot of times people think that businesses become profitable in the first 6 months or 12 months, which is not the case.
Yes.
I remember, when I started becoming an entrepreneur, in the first 4 to 5 years, I kept the same salary. I didn't increase the salary. I didn't take any debt. In fact, the car, when I was working in R&B, I had paid it off.
Yes.
So I didn't actually take on a new car because at the time I understood that I was taking a very high risk.
Guys, well done. I think, for just to make it official, to me personally, I'm just blessed, and I thank God that our path crossed.
Yes.
And we both doing good things.
And you haven't changed. He still looks the same.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
He's
I took
aging
your
gracefully.
advice. Yeah, but
He's
I took your
aging
advice.
gracefully.
Yeah. I'm trying it at least 3 times a week, and it's working.
Yeah.
And we've been doing this for 9 years now. So guys, you just need to put in, and again, I mean, that takes us back to consistency, right?
Yeah.
And I believe that it doesn't really matter where you come from.
No.
If you put in the energy and you strive at it and you keep on pushing, things can be done properly. And also, like, just wanting to tap into your personal space, you just became a father.
Yes.
So yeah.
And having to balance all of that has been amazing, especially during COVID,
Yes.
Now you have your son and the wife, business, entrepreneurship. It's been quite interesting, but hey, I'm still breathing. I'm still here.
Yes.
I mean, even with the sleepless nights, but it's all good.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's a beautiful environment to be in.
Yes.
I mean, I've got 2. You still. Yeah. So it's just a beautiful environment to be in. Yeah. You don't just. When we were 9 years ago, we never thought that we would have this responsibility.
No, not at all. Yes.
And now it's a bigger responsibility in raising human beings.
Yes,
Yeah, it's not easy, but it's fun.
Yeah.
So to me, like, let's get into business. It's Heritage Month, and we're talking financial illiteracy,
Yes.
a black heritage,
Yes.
right? And you and I know how far we've come and how the road was not easy,
No.
but we kept on, pushing. And today we find ourselves helping more people.
Yes.
And that's the dream. That's what we've always strive for.
Yes.
To create jobs, to help people, right? Now, I just want to get personal. You tell me, what is one fundamental thing that you look at and say, because I changed this kind of habit, I then was able to get to this level, was able to build a successful business, right? So by that, it could be, spending less on cars, or spending less on women, or having, yeah, you get my point. Yeah. So what's one thing that you have, changed in your life to get to where you are now?
That's a very interesting and good question. And I mean, I remember, when I started becoming an entrepreneur, in the first 4 to 5 years, I kept the same salary. I didn't increase the salary. I didn't take any debt. In fact, the car, when I was working in R&B, I had paid it off.
Yes.
So I didn't actually take on a new car because at the time I understood that I was taking a very high risk.
Yes.
And so at times, especially if it's an entrepreneurship, if it's other things, if you are, starting a business, a lot of times people think that businesses become profitable in the first 6 months or 12 months, which is not the case.
Yes.
I mean, we actually only started becoming profitable in 2 years.
Yes.
And so the discipline I had was that I needed to really cut on my expenses. So my personal expenses were actually zero. And also what that helped is that, as an entrepreneur, if you start looking for financing, they do a credit check on the director.
Yes.
So you have to make sure that your credit is good, because they don't just fund the business, but they also want to see the person that's backing the business.
Yes.
To see if the finances are good. And so that's a discipline I had to say, I will enjoy the fruits of now buying a nice car, etc. It'll come.
Yes.
But there was time where I had to keep the same car and just keep it low and do that. And I think that it also came from my personal experience just after varsity, where I had bad relationship with money, and I had bad credit.
Yes.
And I vouched to myself, I said, I'll never just take out credit cards, clothing accounts, and all of these things. Because before you know it, you have so much debt.
Yes.
And your disposable income is little, and you basically just living hand to mouth.
Yes.
And so I really tried to live within my means at the time. And I think, and then things start evolving where you can afford this car and whatever. And that's what I took.
Yeah, I can relate. But the funny thing is that this is not something that maybe I'm wrong. I'm assuming. And if I'm assuming wrong, you must tell me. But is it something that all these experiences that you've gone through, is it something that you were taught at home? Is it school? How did you figure this out?
Unfortunately not. Unfortunately, I mean, even having studied a finance degree, you weren't taught about how to necessarily look after your personal finances. At home, unfortunately not. And I think this was through experience. I had to make some bad decisions, and I think to learn from my mistakes. And in this platform, hopefully people can learn and not repeat the same mistake.
Yes.
I mean, the whole idea of this platform is to say, don't make the same mistake. In fact, I wish that when I first got my first salary and I started working, that I could have invested in buying a small property.
Yes.
And I mean, I remember how you used to talk about that, and all your money used to go in property.
Yes.
And I just thought, just buy a car, man.
Yeah.
Like
pink car.
Yeah,
Remember that pink car
all
you used to drive?
Think about is property. And I wish I did that, because I mean, 10 years later,
Yes.
that translates to something else, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh wow.
Yes.
I wish I'd made those decisions. So it was all, I didn't learn anything. It was the mistakes I made. And when I became a business person, from my personal experience, I knew that how you treat your personal life translates to how you manage your business,
yes.
and vice versa. And so I had to be disciplined in how I manage my personal life.
Yes.
And also, it's not just about managing my personal life, especially as in our African culture, I don't just look after myself.
Yes.
I look after an extended family members.
Black tax.
Black tax. And so you have to be disciplined, and also you have to set boundaries.
Yes.
With your family.
Yes.
Sometimes when you are successful, as a business, sometimes family think that the income that comes to the business
Yes.
is actually your salary.
Yes.
But it's actually the income to the business.
Yeah.
And so also setting all these boundaries to say, guys, I earn a salary. Like, even though it's my business, but I still earn a salary like everyone else.
Yes.
And I only spend based on the income,
Yes.
the salary I earn. So yeah, it takes a lot of self-discipline.
What you've been saying is all about how you manage your personal life is how you're going to manage your business. And I normally say it in a different way. I say how you do anything is how you do everything. Right? So you cannot take yourself away from Zanzele. Zanzele is Tumi because you're the director.
Yes.
And everything that you do reflects your business.
Yes.
So you need to do it properly. You need to manage your money wisely. You need to be money savvy. You need to kind of strive to get money to be your servant, basically, because you've got people to pay.
Yes.
And you cannot get at the end of the month and say, sorry guys, I don't have money to pay you.
Yes.
It will be a disaster.
Yes.
And on that, right, what we're driving at is to say that we believe that blacks predominantly are not doing well because finance illiteracy is kind of a black heritage. My question to you is it a yes or no? Do you believe in that? And if you don't, why? And if you do, why?
I don't believe in that. I recognize the problem,
Okay.
but I wouldn't want to box us in that space.
Yeah.
I think that, yes, historically, I think even just economic participation, if you look at us in the last few years, especially black South Africans, economic participation has been in the last 30 years or so. And so there has been a lot of learning in terms of people building businesses, and people building businesses that are sustainable, people building businesses that will outlive them, businesses that are around for the next 100 years. We haven't really learned that. But it doesn't necessarily mean that we've inherited, illiteracy. I think that, if you look at everyone's context, they've all had to make mistakes. And I think that, people that have been successful, who've done well, need to teach and educate other people why. I mean, for example, there was even a notion that people that used to get tenders from the government were entrepreneurs. I mean, when I was young, I used to think that's a real, not to say they're not businessmen,
Yes.
but there are some people who are not necessarily business people.
Yes.
And they just got an opportunity to get a tender.
Yes.
But we would think that's a business, because a business person is someone who can get something and make it sustainable. 50, 100 years, it's still around.
Yes.
That's a real business.
Yes.
It's been quite an adjustment.
Yes. Yes.
But I'm happy, you know.
Okay. Now that's good. Family is important. Huh?
Yo.
Do you guys mind swapping sides?
Yeah, please swap.
Okay.
Because with you, Mr. Echo, you know, your skin tone, I can only see the face.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's it.